Okay, in this stage of the workflow, I want to look at how we create some background with some clouds and we create a base to our model. So we're going to start off first with doing the background, and I'm going to bring up the rendering drop down, hit environment, and have a look at what we've got here in the environment mat slot. So this is the mental ray physical sky. I'm just going to drag this into one of the material slots here just to show you what that's about. It's a tool that's used to give you this horizon type effect inside of the background and illuminate it with kind of a sun and sky setting. So if I go and right click inside the view I've got here on the screen, and I'll bring that up, you can see under the high quality we've got our light illuminating that space in real time. If I go and hit Alt B to bring up my background, I just turn on the environment background to apply to the active view, you're now going to see what this tool is actually doing. So what it's doing is it's got like a little horizon in the background, a little bit lighter in the bottom, and as you get up into the stratosphere it gets a bit darker. We want to now create a environment which actually has some clouds and gives you more depth and warmth. So what I'm going to do is go to our blank slot here and get a material, and we can do this either by grabbing it from the material map browser here or duplicating another material slot that you already have which is similar to this environment. I'll just do it from scratch. I'm just going to go down and choose bitmap, and I'm going to navigate down to my HDRI folder. If you do want to find HDRI skies, there are numerous websites that provide them. This one's from a website called hdrskies.com. And I'm just going to load in this top one here where you can see it's kind of a cloudy day at sunset, and just bring in the default settings. And it's going to appear here inside of my material slot browser here. Now there's a couple things I want to do. First of all, I don't want this to be a texture. I want it to actually be an environment. So I'm going to click the environment tool, and I don't want it to be like sitting on the screen. I want it to be a spherical environment, and that means it actually encompasses the whole environment that we're designing in. So with that, I'm just going to click on the material browser. I want to load that new HDRI image into our environment map. So just drag it across. Instance. So if we change anything here, it will change inside of the environment map and go OK. And you've automatically seen it just fire up in the background. Now by default that's looking really dark, so let me just go and hit a quick production render just using the standard ART render settings, and you can see this is actually pushing much light into the space. So depending on the HDRI image you get will depend on what type of results you're going to get. So what we can do is we can crank this up by going down to the output tab down the bottom here and making some adjustments to the output amount. Now there are numerous tutorials on this. There's always several ways on how to work with this type of technology. This one I'm just going to crank up to 100, and what this is going to do is it's going to push more light into the space. You can see the other one next to it, the MR Sky, it's showing as black. This one's now showing as white because I want it to push light around the space. So I'll show you what happens when we do this. Inside of the viewer here we have an option to actually clone the render window, and I'll set render again, and you'll be able to see the difference. So now we're getting kind of the result that we want to see. If we want to look at the difference here between, say, this one and another HDRI, just to show you how it actually illuminates the space, the one that I've got, it's at sunset, so there's a little bit of pink in the sunset horizon, and it's changing the color of the concrete. But let's say we want to do one at midday. All I'm going to do here is choose a different link, and I've got a few more HDRIs that I got from the HDRI Sky website, and we'll choose this one here which has a blue sky, maybe at midday, and we can see there's a bit more clouds here, and we'll go open and go OK. And now what we can do when we re-render this, I'll just show you what's happening in the background. It is actually there, you just can't see it at the moment. When we go to re-render, you'll see that the color mapping changes a little bit. So the color of the concrete, the background, it all completely changes, all lit by that HDRI environment. Last thing to do here to note, you see it is showing the ground colors here. So a quick tip on how to do this if you don't have any ground information. I usually like to use just a circle. So I can go to circle, or you can do this directly from a cylinder or from a tube if you want to use that, or cylinder is probably the easiest one. I like to use shapefiles, so I'll go to circle, straight that out, change the edges from optimized to adaptive, just a personal preference for the edge, and then just move that to the center. And the last little thing I do here is convert it into an actual surface by just using mesh select. And now we have, when we hit the F3, a solid surface here. It's lightweight, and I can bring up my material browser and grab just a default material here just to give it a color. And when we go back to quickly render that image, we get a disk in the background, but it just kind of blends in a little bit. It's not too sharp, and it bounces light around a little bit better as well. So that is setting up your environment with clouds, with an HDR lighting environment, and creating a base surface for you to get rendering looking a little bit more sharper.